Hi guys, this is Miss Cindy. I hope everyone had a very happy new year and wishing everybody a healthy, happy, safe, prosperous 2026. Just like 2025 where funds were getting, a little tight, um, I decided to try to use some of the supplies that I have, craft and art supplies that I've had over the years. Because I used to, oh my gosh, I used to have my own small home business, and I sold a lot of crafts, well, jewelry, paintings, decorative plates. So last year I decided, instead of buying a whole lot of supplies, start using some of the supplies I have in the house and see if I can come up with something creative to do with them. So right in front of you is all of the beads when I used to make jewelry. And I mean, there are thousands and thousands of beads in these cases. From pony beads to wood beads to glass beads to just your cheap beads. I have some sterling silver beads. I have gold beads. So I was going to pack them up and get a little package together and probably sell them. But I decided I've got all of these beads. Let me see if I can do some bead craft, come up with some idea to do some bead craft. So I did come up with a couple. This first one, again, I'm just experimenting. I do not know if it's going to work, but I'm just going to try something new just to try to utilize some of this back supply that I have. So, and what I did was I wanted the first project I want to do is I want to put a bead design on a 16 by 16 canvas. So I did not have a 16 by 16 canvas. I had one a little bit larger. So all I did was I took a razor blade and I just cut my measurements out. And this is what it looks like. And then I was going to throw it away. And then I looked on this side, and this is like a nice frame. So this is not going in the garbage. I'm going to store this, and I'm going to end up doing something with this. But anyway, I just measured 16 by 16. And this is going to be my canvas. I have an idea what I'm going to do with it after it's done, but I'm not too sure yet. Also, I'm not going to use different types of beads. I think I'm going to stick with maybe wood beads. I have a lot of wood. I have quite a seed beads. I have a lot of every type of bead. But I think I want to try to make something in the wood beads because those are the earth tone colors. And if this works, when I finish, I can put it in my living room. So I will be back once I get started and have a really clear blueprint of what I'm going to do. Okay, I decided exactly what I'm going to do. Now, executing it is going to be another question. But I'm going to make a pillow where one side has the beading on it and the other side has a print, so I can turn it either way. So what I did is I just tried to get some sort of outline of where I'm going to place the beads. And I'm not an artist, but I just got a little sketch on there of the Eye of Horus and the Ankh, because that would go with the Egyptian theme. And then I needed to make sure I had enough polyfill. Again, I told you I'm not going to spend any money on this if it's at all possible. So I did not have enough polyfill. But it was okay because inside that polyfill bag was a pillow insert. So I'm going to use the pillow insert, and I also have bins of fabric. And I found a really, really pretty piece of Egyptian fabric. And I think this will be perfect because I'm using the natural colors, the new, the earth tone colors for the beads. So one side I have the bead design on it, and the other side will just be the print from the fabric. I will be using my well bond, and when I get started laying the beads, I will come back and just record that. Right now, I have to go through these beads and see what's going to fit within my outline. And then I know all of this background, first of all, I'm going to have to cut this down. But then the background needs to be painted. So I do have some fabric paint, and I'll go ahead and, put some fabric paint on it, seal it, cut it down, and then get it on the pillow. So when I get started, I will be back. Okay, so before I get started gluing these beads onto my canvas, I went ahead and just knocked out the pillow cover. And all I did was I measured it, cut it, and I just sewed the 3 sides. So that's done, and I put it in, and I put the filler in, and it definitely fits. So that's done. However, since I haven't done this before, I wanted to do like a little practice on laying the beads, making sure I have the beads to fill in my drawing here, and how they were going to go on, because I've never done this before. So actually, these beads should be glued like that instead of with the hole showing. So because I'm not purchasing anything new, I needed to make sure I had enough beads and how they would look. I know I'm going to have to be very careful when I do anything that has curves on it. So on a small canvas, I practiced a little bit. Now, this is right here is the way the bead should go on. So on a little canvas, I drew a little scene, and I put the beads on the sun and on the hot air balloon and on the boat the way it should go on this canvas. Well, then I had to do the sky, and down bottom is supposed to be a beach, and I was going to put a little tree and whatnot. Well, there was no way in the world I was going to put each one of these beads on here the way it should be put on. So I just put some glue on, and just to fill it in, I just, dropped the beads on there and pushed them together and let them dry. So this is not how this is going to look. I'm going to do it so that the beads are on their sides. However, it also made me think if I have enough beads to do it. Because again, this is something I'm trying to do with supplies I already have around the house. So as you can see, I got this far with these little tiny seed beads, and I don't have for my beach, for my brown. So I'm not going to worry about this now. This was just trying to practice how to glue the beads on, especially when it comes to those curves. I don't want to mess this one up. So I am ready now to at least get started. I guess that's about it. Except for I have some plain beads with no color on them, and thank goodness. So I had to do some little research on how to paint those. I know I can put them on a toothpick or a skewer, but I was looking at different techniques to actually paint some wood beads if I have to change the colors, or I have to actually put colors on them, because they're all natural. They have no coating, anything on them. So when I get started, ready to bead, and I think I'm going to start with this eyelash first, above the eyelash, because I think I know what color I want that in. Then I will be back. Okay, so I have my supplies here. Just like when I do the diamond drills, when I was putting those on, I always have some toothpicks so I can, push the diamonds together or put them on or take them off. I have my beads, and I'm starting out with blue beads. But instead of me taking my glue, and I'm just using the Well Bond, instead of me taking my glue and going across here, it's going to be easier for me to get my bead and put it in the glue and then put it on. So I'm just going to do like that. Get some glue on there and put it where I want it. Okay. And the reason why I'm doing it this way as opposed to just putting the glue and just lining them up is because I don't want the glue to dry in case I have to move them around. So this gives me a little bit of time. It's a little bit slower, but I'm not rushing. I'm just taking my time. And then I just push it up that way. I'm starting with the blue beads. And I also can see when I was going through my beads is that I'm not going to have enough of these wood beads to complete this project. Well, I do, but what's not going to work okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do two things at once. I do want to turn that way. There we go. I have little small spots in here, small little places that I have to do. And I'm going to end up having to use some seed beads because those are smaller. So where I wanted this to be all wood, I'm not going to be able to do it all wood. I'm going to have to use some of the seed beads to get some of the smaller ones. So this is pretty much it. Now, if I need to move these, that glue is still wet. However, when it dries, this well-bond glue, it will definitely dry and hold this on here. The other thing I notice I'm going to have to do is, depending on the type of bead I use and how close I can get them together, I'm going to have to probably paint the canvas first with a background. Now, I plan on using a fabric paint around the whole background when I'm finished, but some of these spots here, if I don't have the right size bead where maybe some of the canvas is going to show through, I may have to paint it first. I found that out when I did the drills, when I did my own design on using the diamond art drills, is that I really needed to paint the surface. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do this little set. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do all of the blue where I want the blue beads. Make sure I have enough. And then I will be back and I'll show you my progress. And we'll keep going from there. Okay. So I had the first lines of beads. And I think I'm going to go with that. However, I did change this up. Since I was going to do the background of color, and this is going to be background, this is going to be a background, I went ahead and painted it. And I also painted the eye in the black because I know I'm going to need seed beads for that. But I didn't like it that way. So what I did was I cut out the center because it's going to be on a printed fabric. So I'm just going to let the fabric show through here, show through here. I'm going to finish my beading, and then I think I'm just going to cut the whole thing. Originally, I was just going to do like a square and paint the background and glue like a square on the pillow. But I think I'm just going to glue the image on the pillow. So once I get all of the beads on, then I'll go ahead and take my X-Acto knife or my razor blade. I'll cut it out and it'll just be the design on the pillow. So this is just an update where as I'm working, I'm changing my mind. And this is as far as I've come so far. And I think it's going to work. So I'll be back. I'll do a little bit more on this. The other issue I know I'm going to run into, and I'm not going to care because it's just the first time, all my beads are not the same size. Some are smaller, some are bigger. So I'm just going to do the best I can to get the sizes that are similar and put those on so it doesn't look too silly. So I'll be back. Well, I'm finished with the beading. I ran into a couple of problems, but I did the best I could, and here it is. It's still drying. So my next step, and then I'll be finished, is, okay, first of all, actually the way it is now is how I was going to put it on the pillow cover, but I was just going to paint the background. I've decided I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take my time and use my X-Acto knife, my scissors, my razor blade, and I'm just going to cut the whole thing out. I did run into a couple of problems. these beads right here, you cannot cut those with the X-Acto knife, the scissors, or anything else. I had to actually sand them down to get in this area here, and so this is not perfect, but I did the best I could. So I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm just going to varnish it. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to get my pillow cover, and I'm going to cut a piece of parchment paper, and I'm going to stick it on the inside of the pillow cover. And then I'm going to use the E6000 to glue this onto the pillow. This E6000, once it cures, it will definitely hold. This is going to be a decorative pillow, so nobody's going to be using it, but everybody's going to be picking it up and they got to touch it. So when I come back, I should be totally finished. Pillow should be put together, and let's see how it comes out. Well, I'm finished with this little craft project. There's my pillow. It's real colorful and real busy. I went ahead and I put a coating over the beads, and then when I sewed it together, I just put a little piping around the outside, which just brings it out a little bit better. This wasn't too hard to do, except for the beading. I'm going to revisit this again, and I may do it a craft project with the girls, but instead of putting it on canvas and cutting it out, because I'm going to say cutting it out was the hardest thing to do, I think I'm going to just maybe put a stencil on the actual fabric or draw something on the fabric and then do the beading exactly on there, because cutting this out was really rough. Anyway, there's my no-cost Egyptian bead pillow. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, come back, because this year's goal is to just try to do as many creative projects as I can without purchasing anything. I may need, glue, maybe that would be the only thing I would need is glue, because I've got pretty much all the supplies that I would need to do a lot of crafts. I just need the imagination and the creativity to pull it off. So have a great day. Talk to you soon.